The Premier League is back, but there is a blow for Manchester City with Omar Marmoush on crutches just 4 days before the Manchester derby. Hello there, welcome to the Premier League show with me, Julian Warren, and my guest tonight, the former Fulham, Chelsea and Reading midfielder, Steve Sidwell is here. Steve, I know I've missed out a few of your other clubs. Haven't got all night. Looking forward to getting into it all with you. Steve Sidwell is here for the next couple of hours. Coming up tonight, Alexander Isak trains with Liverpool for the first time. We'll be looking at which players are in line to make their Premier League debuts this coming weekend. We'll also be discussing the return of Ange Postecoglou, who starts his Nottingham Forest career against none other than Arsenal. Great to have you with us. That is all to come. But first, to the return of the Premier League this weekend, and with it, the introduction of several new faces. We will get to that in a moment. But first, to that blow for Manchester City ahead of the Manchester derby. Omar Marmoush is set to miss Sunday's game at the Etihad Stadium because of a knee injury. Marmoush, who won the Goal of the Season award last season, picked up a knee injury in Egypt's 1-1 draw with Burkina Faso last night. And this was him arriving back in Egypt on crutches. It's not yet known just how long Marmoush will be out for, but he will now return to Manchester for more assessment and to begin his rehabilitation. And Steve, let's go straight into this then. Manchester derby, huge game this weekend, and it sounds like no Marmoush. How big a blow is this for City?
It's a huge blow. It's a game that they need to win. You know, they've had a terrible start really to the Premier League. The defeat to Spurs, to Brighton as well, in the manner that they probably conducted them defeats. But Marmoush is a clever player, and you want to see these players on the pitch. We go to games now and we see a lot of defenders, centre halves on the ball, having the most amount of passes, whereas you want the flared players to be on that pitch, and he's definitely got that sort of wow factor, charisma. He picks up really good positions off the left-hand side in the little pockets. You don't really see him getting marked a lot, and that's a sign of a top player. He's got that link up as well with Haaland, so it's a huge blow this for City.
I suppose on the positive side, Haaland's in pretty good touch by the looks of things last night.
Just normal service resumes. He's just relentless, isn't he? He's,
5 goals in a game for Norway.
He's just this absolute goal-scoring machine, and when you've got someone of that calibre, doesn't matter how the team are playing, you know, he's someone that could just score straight off the bat. So it's a big game for Man City. They need to come out and I think have an emphatic win, but it's also huge, if not bigger, for Manchester United.
Yeah, I'll actually ask you that a bit later about who's under the most pressure and who needs it the most at the moment. Just finally on Marmoush, his absence, I guess, opens the door for someone else. How do you think City would handle his loss, whether it be for one game or longer term than that?
Well, they've still got an array of talent, haven't they? You know, they've got Rodri back and Reinders, who's looking brilliant, to be fair, when he's come into the Premier League. But look, I don't think it's a crisis yet for Man City. We know the squad, the capabilities that they've got. Huge players, game-winning players as well. So, and Pep, the genius, the tactical genius, he'll somehow find a way.
A tale of two goalkeepers. This is going to be fascinating as well. New shot stoppers at both Manchester clubs. Let's start with City. Do you think Gianluigi Donnarumma goes straight into the team?
It's a huge game for him to go into. Yes, I could see it. I could see it. If he doesn't, then I think it's probably justified with what Trafford's done so far. If he goes in, though, he's a big name, and he's a big game player as well. We've seen that in previous games where he's won games single-handedly by keeping the ball up the net. So, but what an introduction it will be. You know, we've seen a few that have made their debut. I think Patrice Evra was one that made his debut in the Manchester derby, and I think he quickly found out what the Premier League was all about. So, is it easier to introduce a goalkeeper into the Premier League in a game of that magnitude? No, I don't. I'm not sure. I think you try and protect your goalkeepers as much as possible. Manchester United do look. City do look better defensively, but I still think you've got to protect them at all times.
So, would you, if it was up to you, would you put him in or would you stick with Trafford?
I would go with him.
Would you?
He's got experience. He's a big game player. He's played at the biggest stage as well, so he knows what he's doing.
Champions League winner, European Championship winner, but there were questions when he was signed over whether he's the right signing for City because of what Guardiola normally demands of his goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a good fit?
Do you know what? Question marks was raised, and I do think, especially with the ball at his feet, where we know what Pep likes to have that outfield goalkeeper as such, where we've been accustomed to that. So it was a strange one, in terms of the way that they link up and whether they start their attacks basically from their own 6-yard box. I don't think we're going to see that as much now if he is between the sticks. I think this season as well, we're seeing more teams going direct. Longer throws, set pieces, going direct from out, in their own box as well. So, yeah, it's strange, but he's a world-class keeper.
Questions also asked about the whole goalkeeper situation at Manchester United then. Onana has moved on for now, outside by India. It's still there, of course, and they've brought in Sen Lamens. Who do you think is going to be number one?
I have no idea. I have no idea, and I don't think they do at the moment as well. It's been a problem for Manchester United the last few seasons, hasn't it? Onana, he didn't fill you with confidence at all. Yes, he had some good games, but there was a lot of mistakes that he made, a lot of errors that was costly. Admittedly, again, it's not just down to him; it's about who's in front. You could say that the Manchester United defence have not been great at all. So the protection that he's got in terms of shots being faced, that could have been something that Manchester United will be looking to improve on. So it's worrying times for that.
Did you think they'd go for more experience, like a proven Premier League goalkeeper?
Yeah, you always associate Manchester United with a top-class goalkeeper. You go back through the seasons and, the list, they just roll off. Schmeichels, Van der Sars, Fabian Barthez, they've been flourished of goalkeepers, but this is a concern at the moment.
OK, so let's just finally talk about the two teams going head-to-head, always a big occasion. United a point above City in the table, very early days, of course. City lost the last two before the break. Who is under most pressure, do you think, for the result?
I think this is a huge game straight away. I think this is bigger. This is bigger for Manchester City because they need to throw down a marker now. The way that, as I said before, the way that they've lost them two previous games in that manner, in that fashion, is not like them. And the way that they set off against Wolves as well, everyone thought that they was going to be the real deal. This is huge for Manchester United in terms of the fans. I think there's a connection that's back. But I think it was lost very quickly with the result against Grimsby in the Cup. So what a way to get the fans back on side.
I think Steve has teed it up very nicely here, but let's just give you the official promo, shall we? Here we are. You don't want to miss it, do you? The Manchester derby. It's City against United. It's Guardiola against Amrim. You'll see it live. It's on Super Sunday this weekend. Build up on Sky Sports Premier League from 4 p.m.
Premier League referee David Coote has been charged with making an indecent image of a child. The 43-year-old, who was sacked last year over comments he made in a video about former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, was charged following an investigation by Nottinghamshire police. Officers recovered a video file in February and Coote was charged on the 12th of August. The charge of making an indecent image of a child refers to activities such as downloading, sharing or saving abuse photos or videos. Coote will appear at Nottingham Magistrates Court tomorrow.
Postecoglou will hold his first press conference as the new Nottingham Forest manager tomorrow after a whirlwind, 12 hours yesterday, which saw Nuno Espirito Santo sacked and then very quickly replaced. Debate has been raging ever since about the merits of both decisions. We've been gauging the reaction of some former Forest players.
I just thought, what's the point being a manager? I did. I thought, you finish in Europe, he's done such a magnificent job. Obviously, the owner's gone on the pitch at the end of the game and had a pop about the substitution, which is not great. And then you just change the manager.
2 seasons, Forest got back in the Premier League and struggled and survived by the skin of the teeth. Then you get a manager who steadies the ship, puts the club not only safe and, again, an established Premier League football club, but he also gets them into Europe as well. So I find it a little bit bizarre.
To get sacked when you've got Forest into Europe for the first time in years, and to have the season they had last time, it's football. Where are we going with it?
If Hans comes in and does what he did at Spurs with the high line, it's going to take a lot. It doesn't happen overnight where the players adapt to it. It's going to take time. That could be worrying so early on in the season. So whether he comes in and plays that or he carries on where Nuno left off and then adapts it later on down the line, I don't know, but it's going to be a massive change.
Well, the two centre-halves who done so well sitting on the edge of their own box last season, they might have had a heart attack when they seen Ange getting appointed, because they got to start sprinting from the halfway line back. But he does play a high line. It is nice to watch. But will it get him to 6th? Because unless he gets him to 6th, it's a backward step.
Very interesting. Let's come to Postecoglou in a minute. Let's start with Nuno's departure, Steve. We heard Mark Crossley there call it a bizarre decision. What did you think when you heard the news yesterday?
I wasn't surprised. I think the comments that was made, sort of in the build-up to the season, there was a communication breakdown there. I think that was the start of this cycle where it's happened very quickly. But nothing surprises me in football. I think what he's done, he's taken a club from 17th to European football. You know, he's galvanised a culture and environment at Nottingham Forest, and he's got them playing to their strengths. You know, we heard there about someone that has created a team that's hard to beat, hard to break down, devastating on the counter-attack, and now we're going to go to a manager that is the complete opposite. It's like sometimes you get a team to suit the manager, or you get a manager to suit the team, and this doesn't fit. You know, it was great to see Ange back. I love him. He's box office. He's brilliant. I'm a big admirer of him. But yeah, for me, it was a strange appointment.
And on the departure of Nuno, just to finish off on that, you know, very public comments about his relationship with the owner. You mentioned the issues in the summer. The transfers took a long time to come through. They got them done in the end. Yeah. I've heard it said that maybe he was speaking out like that, angling for the sack. I mean, it's a very cynical view, but what do you think?
Yeah, you can see why it's been said, why it's been raised. He's done a tremendous job. He's got, you know, load of credit in the bank. He's not going to be out of a job for long, I'd imagine. But yeah, I think there was probably a case where he was maybe butting his head against the wall. But you get that, especially
with. Have you seen that in your career when a manager sort of called out the ownership or the board?
No,
or anything like that?
No. I mean, Jose was one that was always playing mind games. Yeah, I think when you see it from a manager, I think that's the writing on the wall straight away. And when he's 7 miles away from where I want to be, I think the week before, or the build up to the first game of the season, you knew what was going to happen.